Do you play games? Well, if you do, I'm assuming that you probably play on Nintendo Switch, PS5 or 4, and Xbox One. Then I'm assuming most of the games that you play probably came out in the last 10 years or so. Well, I beg another question. Why don't you play games that came out before 10 years ago? And why do you only play PS5 games? Well, I'm here to kind of answer that question for you today if you've never thought about it before, and also tell you why you should play more retro games. Now, first off, ground rules. What is a retro game? It's a game that came out over 10 years ago. That is our definition in this context. It's crazy to think the Wii is retro games now. It qualifies as a retro game because it came out over 10 years ago. '06. That's when it came out. That's crazy to think. But yeah, 6th gen consoles, retro games. Now, some differences between retro and modern games that we might think of. The graphics, first and foremost, most obvious thing people might think of. Older games look a lot different from modern games, hardware-wise. The controllers have changed over the years on consoles, lots of differences. More premium controllers now. Genres of video games. Different genres were popular in the past than were now. Online gaming. Now, I recently learned that online gaming was very much a thing back in the 90s on old dial-up PCs and the like, with LAN parties. But I'm mainly arguing with home consoles side of things. Online gaming on home consoles wasn't necessarily popularized or streamlined until recent years, as in like 2010 or so, I'd estimate. And now those are just objective differences we're saying, not necessarily superior versus inferior, but now let me show you why you should play retro games. First off, a wider variety of graphics on older consoles. Nowadays, you see mostly just kind of 3D realistic graphics. Not all games, but it seems a lot more consistent with just everything's 3D graphics of the sort. If you go back by 10 or 20 years, you'll see a much more wide variety of graphic styles of video games. You look at these two games, they look super different, but they actually came out same year, same console even. That's crazy. And both of these are great games, by the way. This one, up to be decided, but they're both amazing experiences. History. Another reason to play retro games is current games that are popular nowadays got their start on consoles 20, 30 years ago. You might want to see where they started. And that's why you could play retro games to experience the starts of popular game series. And lots of big ones have their collections re-released on modern platforms. Sonic Origins is an example. Got all the classic Sonic games ported to all modern consoles. It's not out yet. It's actually coming out June 23rd this year. And another example is the Devil May Cry series. You know, I played Devil May Cry 5, but the original trilogy is in the DMC HD collection on modern platforms as well. Now, contrary to games that have been re-released on modern platforms, you can't play everything on modern platforms, and there are a lot of great games that you can only play on retro consoles. That's why you would want to bust out the old PS2, GameCube, whatever, to play the best of the best. And like Sonic Heroes, you know, only play that on 6th gen consoles. Persona 3 FES, you can only play that on PS2. Another thing, which is a bit varying in modern times with the market nowadays, pricing of games. MSRP for current video games, a big AAA title, is $60, $70. That's crazy. I got older 7th gen game, Sonic Unleashed, best game ever, $20. Easy. Big difference there. You love spending less money for a good experience. And another great reason that people love playing retro games is the feeling of authenticity. Now, this is more of a subjective thing, but sometimes it just hits different when you're playing that classic game on the old CRT television with the original controller. There's a reason that people play certain games on retro TVs with the original controller. It just, I don't know, it's something that's hard to describe. It just feels right. Now, after all those reasons to play retro games, you might ask, well, where can I go to get a PS2 or a Super Nintendo or anything? Well, that's a good question, because the main reason I see that people don't play retro games is simply because they don't know how to play them. Where do you go to get one? Because you can just go to Walmart. They only have Switch games, PS5 games, Xbox One games. That's all you can get. Well, local game stores are a great find. You can just quick Google search. Most cities have at least one local game store, and they're great places to get any old console. And the employees often love to help you find something new. And another thing, I accidentally skipped that slide, but Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Craigslist, those are great places to find retro games. And also, emulation is a viable method to experience retro games if you don't want the authenticity. Not to say that modern games aren't still great, but the old ones are great too. That's why I think you guys should play more retro games. So go out there and play on Sonic 2 on Sega Genesis.